Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Favorite Bands A to Z. It's Monday morning. Of course, we have arrived at the letter N. N is in Nancy. N is in Nevermore. N is in Nantucket. N is in Nobody. N is in Nazareth. Lots to choose from. Of course, I mentioned Nevermore, Nantucket, another good band. Ted Nugent. All right, Night Ranger, some really good ones. But for me, it's always been about that great band from Scotland, the hard rockers from Scotland, fronted up until not long ago by Dan McCafferty, Manny Charlton on guitar, and the rest of the guys, Pete and whatever. But I've always liked this band. They've always sounded very unique. The really early stuff kind of bluesy. Then they went for this little folky phase, and then they did lots of really solid, some great hard rocking albums throughout the 70s. Beginning of the 80s, they got a little poppy, right? Went a little bit lighter. Then they kind of returned a little bit to heavier stuff, back to lighter, and a million albums, so many albums. If you haven't seen my Ranking the Album show, I actually tackled the entire catalog, which was quite a feat. But a lot of really great albums. And lots of good ones to choose from. I tend to always, I know it's kind of cliche to say this, Hair of the Dog I generally go to as my favorite album, only because, there are probably other albums, Expect No Mercy, No Mean City, Close Enough for Rock and Roll, Loud and Proud, Razzmanazz, really strong albums with some great tracks. I think there's tracks on a lot of those albums that are among my favorites. I find this album, though, I think to be the most consistent start to finish. And that's the reason why I generally lean to this album. Razzmanazz a lot of times is second. Drawing a blank. Expect No Mercy always comes in pretty high. No Mean City, like I said, Loud and Proud is also pretty strong. But I think this one, it's got the title track. Miss Misery is probably the heaviest thing they've ever did. Guilty is great. Changing Times is kick-ass. I like their take on Beggar's Day. Rose and the Heather. Whiskey Drinking Woman is pretty, gritty and whatnot. And then you got the big doomy Please Don't Judas Me. Of course, Love Hurts. And you got the bonus tracks recorded during this session. My White Bicycle, Holy Roller, and Railroad Boy. All really good. If you put them all together as one kind of album on this reissue remaster, it's, classic stuff here. But I like the big bruising riffing. I love Dan's screeching vocals. He was doing this sort of thing way before guys like Brian Johnson and Axl Rose, even though Brian was doing his other band, Geordie, before he joined AC/DC. His vocal style when he joined AC/DC changed to more of this screechy type of thing. Of course, Axl Rose did it much later on. But Dan was doing this from like the early 70s right off the bat. Nobody like him, right? So, so I'm going to go with Nazareth. I always really enjoyed the music at Nazareth. Their albums are always very varied. You got some bluesy stuff, some heavy rockin' stuff. You got, some folky stuff, all sorts of, and then, later on, little bits of pop and things like that. So, really, really talented band, very unique. My runner-up. So this took a couple of ponderings to figure out. And no, I'm not going to give you the other ones that were in the final considerations, because it seems like whenever I do that, people want me to keep mentioning more and more bands. Well, I'm not going to do that. So now you're just going to get the runner-up here today. And I really dig this band a lot. It was even kind of hard picking a favorite album because I kind of fluctuate back and forth a little bit. But I'm going to go with Nectar. Tab in the Ocean is going to be my favorite release from them for today anyway. It's either this or Remember the Future. I love them both. Remember the Future, big and epic. Tab in the Future, just a lot of really long, good, proggy, hard rockin' songs. Nectar, of course, a great British prog rock band who people tend to kind of lump them in with the German prog rock scene because they made that their home for so many years. They were huge in Germany. And so they basically they lived there, they played there all the time, and many people started to think of them as being a German band, but they're all British guys. And they're still going strong to this day. We lost Roy Albrighton, their leader, singer, guitar player, a couple of years back, but they have continued on and put out some good new music of their own. But this is a drop dead classic. I mean, here you've got the title track, Tab in the Ocean, Desolation Valley, killer song. Crying in the Dark, and of course King of Twilight. How dramatic. I mean, if you like big Hammond organ and crunchy guitars and really cool proggy psychedelic vocals and arrangements. This is a must, and it's got one of the coolest album covers of all time, right? So just a really, really cool band. So those are my picks for today. Nazareth, Hair of the Dog, and Nectar, A Tab in the Ocean. Pretty cool album covers on both, I would say. Two pretty cool, heavy-ish bands. One a little more proggy than the other, but Nazareth and Nectar. So in the comments below, please put down your favorite act, band, or artist. Okay, if it's an artist, go by the last name, first letter of the last name, your favorite album, and then your runner-up and favorite album. As we mow our way through the alphabet, we got, of course, coming up tomorrow. We got O coming up tomorrow. Not a lot of O's, right? So this was, I immediately came down to a couple of them. And so you'll have to wait and see for that tomorrow. So visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Please stay tuned tonight for the Hudson Valley Squares. Tomorrow in the Prague seat. Wednesday is What's Hot with Sea Tranquility Day, new product review day. Thursday, of course, is the Monsters Den. And then Friday morning at the Funhouse with Martin Popoff and myself. So stay tuned. We got also a bunch of more album ranking shows coming up this weekend. So we got Stephen Reed is going to be on the channel a couple times this week. So Stephen and I are going to be ranking the catalogs of Polish progressive, maybe call them progressive metal veterans Riverside, as well as Frost, UK prog rock act. That's coming up this weekend. I'm also hoping to get to the catalog of Norwegian prog band extraordinaire Wobbler. All right, I'm also going to be working on, if it's not this week, it'll be next week, giving you my top 5 albums from jazz fusion legends, the Crusaders. That's coming up as well. As we got more. Also, got to find my dance partner. I think I know who he's going to be, but we've had plenty of requests to do the catalog of In Flames. That's coming up fairly soon, too, so stay tuned for that. And a whole lot more. And Rich Gattino is going to come back on the show. More power metal stuff. I'm going to have him rank the catalog of Gamma Ray. I'm not that well-versed in Gamma Ray, but he loves them, so we've had a lot of people ask for Gamma Ray, so he's going to come on with me, and I'm going to kind of turn the reins over to him, and he's going to rank Gamma Ray's catalog. So stay tuned for that and a lot more. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to make a channel donation, the link to our Ko-Fi page is below. We've also got the Sea of Tranquility merch page where you can get one of these awesome shirts and a lot others. So that link is below, as well as the link to our long-standing webzine that has now been on the internet for 20 years, seatranquility.org. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you later on with the Hudson Valley Squares and tomorrow morning with another favorite bands A to Z. Take care.